Yeah, I guess the diplomacy here, when it comes to love, a Sunite priest cannot falter. That's devoted loving, baby. Helmet. What type of helmet did we get? Let's actually do some stuff to Sophia. Let her tell us what we found. Capturing crest. Ooh, 8 wisdom, 6 and sunburst. Not bad. That might be like... Okay, it kind of depends. Like, this does 6, and also does our constitution up.
Yes.
We'll see. Okay, what else did we get? Chronomatic crown. Nice. Not great, but nice. Nice.
By all the hells!
My magic will erase this nuisance.
And then the last one was the Eldritch charm. Warlock thing. Okay. Not good for us. Oh, well, we'll consider this shield. That there might be something to take along in the future. Well, the golems certainly are. And the blade spiders and everything.
Get you back from her!
I don't think we're intimidated.
Rashemen, shoo! Give me a moment to gaze upon.
Mother? I thought you were dead, and you're...
Ancient, wrinkled,
Yes.
doddering crone. No, I am not the woman you remember, Sophia. Nor am I your mother in the sense you have always believed me to be.
The voices. I understand it now. You and I, my mother, we're all parts of the same person. The same soul.
Okay.
My sweet daughter, you are all that was best in me. Everything that Akachi loved and gave his soul to protect lives in you. Of all the wicked things I have done to save him, you are innocent, blameless. You began as a part of me, Sophia, but now you are more.
Okay,
So the woman I knew as
interesting.
my mother, was me. Or rather, us?
I'll tell you all of it, Sophia. Let me just greet...
Yes, all in good time. There's someone you should meet.
Yes, the guy with the
My
epic horns on his head.
Look at us. You wear the face of a stranger, and I've known hags that are comelier than the prune that I've become. What a pair we are, my love. I must be hideous to you. To him, if Akachi was not the thing that he is, he would turn away from me with loathing.
Well, then we're kind of all, oh, beauty is on the inside and such. This is a good line. But I think the second is much better. What do such things matter in the face of love? We are more than these trappings of flesh that we wear.
That is a sentiment I have rarely heard echoed, but I agree with wholeheartedly.
We have both worn faces aplenty, my beloved and I. But I am not Ahriman to play myself false. My Akachi is gone. Little remains of him but a mindless hunger seething beneath your flesh. And the fault is mine. I was the one he went to save, the soul he tore from the wall. So much lost for one fool.
Yeah, so the pieces are falling
My
together.
beloved launched a crusade and sacrificed all that he was. Better that he had left me to rot, perhaps, and found another pretty thing to distract him from his faith.
She is surprisingly unmelodramatic about this. But yeah, this has to be a Denzon Sune moment. He loved you. In his place, I'd have done the same.
I would not. Love had not become real to me. Not until the wall. I'd have mourned his fate and turned away. If he was here, I would tell him, I have never rested since that day. This academy, all you've seen here, all this was for him. I know I cannot bring him back, but I can end his pain and the punishment that he never deserved. You have given me that chance.
Strange, I don't recall you asking me for my help.
Did I place you in the barrow? Yes. Allow you to be joined with the monster that my beloved has become? Yes.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Did I tear the shard of Gith from your chest? Not with pride, but yes. I have deceived you, relied upon your own self-interest to end my lover's curse, done evil for his sake, yes.
Then you deceived me as well. You never told me the truth. You merely said
that the stranger's life was worth more to me than all the lives on all the planes. That you should treat this stranger as if...
As if I loved him.
Sophia, I never lied to you. You didn't understand my words then, but they were true nonetheless.
And they were spoken by Nephris, so...
Who have suffered so much for a love you never knew. Yes, you must think me a monster. But what do good or evil matter in the face of love? Love will break an oath, shatter a man's faith, and outlive God's. Love endures when your greatest...
Yeah, this is why I wanted to play a priest of
suffering
Sude for this.
Even if he can never again be yours.
Because this feels very appropriate. So Liana, Nephris, they were pieces of your soul, like Sophia.
Fragments, yes. If one of us was slain, the others would carry on, and Akachi would not be abandoned. And each of them had talents of her own. A mind, a soul, can be teased apart, its elements distilled. Every person has talents, weaknesses, obsessions. All but the strongest are drowned out in the clamor of the mind. Sever one aspect from the rest, and suddenly it is stronger, more focused than it was as part of the whole.
Interesting.
Then the voices I hear
were our voices, yes. Our thoughts. We were linked together, Sophia. Our minds never truly separate. Nephris wanted you to know. She thought it practical to tell you, but I forbade it. If you shared in our secret, you'd have shared in our blame.
Sophia said the voice was louder at times. He kept her out of danger.
We understood the connection, Liana, Nephris, and myself. We could hear each other's thoughts when we chose to listen. And yes, we could speak to one another through our minds, but the bond became weaker with time as each of us grew slowly apart, became her own woman.
That's
Liana
interesting.
was the most difficult of all, living in a foreign land, adopting their language and customs. That is why we created the portals, so that Nephris could visit her, to ensure that she did not stray. We all watched over you, Sophia, and made our voices heard when you needed us. You were most precious of all.
I always
Then
heard
I
you.
wonder, which
Low
part
voices.
is which.
A crowd of people in another room. But when I'd search for you,
You could never find us, and you learned to ignore our voices over time, just as we hoped, my sweet daughter. By your ignorance, we kept you safe. Even Ahriman never guessed what you really were.
Yeah, until we told it to him, but then, he kind of died, so... So what part of you was Liana?
She was all that imagines and questions, withholds judgment and sees all things anew. What better fragment to be my eyes in a foreign land than one that could love the land and its people as an old Thayan never could?
And never said, Mrs. What part was she of you?
Nephris, the one I knew as mother, who was really just a fragment of you.
She is not gone, Sophia. Her fragment has returned to the whole, to me. She loved you dearly, as I do. Can you guess what part she was, daughter?
Your resolve, the unyielding
Yes.
scholar, the dutiful mother, a woman that men wouldn't love, but that a daughter could admire.
Not without sweetness to temper her, and that sweetness I gave to another.
Let's speak of something else.
Of questions or of judgments?
We should definitely go eventually with the third option, but let's first do some questions. How could you be sure I'd find my way here?
I never meant to leave you on your own. Liena would have told you what you were, enough to understand your curse, but not to lay the blame on me. Liena and Nephris, my hands in the world outside this sanctum. Ahriman slew them both. He had watched me, waiting for all my fragments to reveal themselves. He knew of Nephris already. When he found Liena, he struck. And you were abandoned, with only my Sophia to guard your way.
Well, that was good enough. Why did you allow Ahriman to even join your academy?
Understand, when I knew Ahriman, he was the pale-faced little brother. So silent, so shy, he hardly spoke a word. I thought him centuries dead, like all the rest, and the years had changed him, as much or more than me. I was not looking for him, so I did not see.
Makes sense. And if Ahriman is, you basically did never realize the threat was there. That the threat even existed. Cunning. And if Ahriman hadn't struck, what then?
Nephris would have told you all this, the truth. She'd have given you the sword as well. But she'd have left one truth untold. You would never have learned of me. Nephris was prepared to play my part, and to die at your hand if need be. A simple piece of theater, a single lie, hidden beneath many truths. Liena knew stagecraft, and she thought that best.
Why the deceptions if you're not willing to face the consequence of your own plot?
I would face the wall itself once I knew that Akachi was at peace, but not before. What if you fail? Do you think I wouldn't try again? I would sacrifice 1,000 like you if that's what it took to save him.
That is not cool. Why did you use me then, not someone else?
Because you had the will to master the blade of Gith, and because through the sword you are bound to my beloved and to all the sword bearers. In a sense, you are his heir, the first in many long centuries, and some part of him knows it. You have more control over your hunger than any of the others.
A lot of control, actually. Yes, but still. Okay, now we get to the judgment, so let's go with the first one. You acted out of love, that matters. The evil is Merkel's, not yours.
Akachi's fate is Merkel's doing, but your fate is mine. Here is the sword of Gith, its pieces gathered together, the blade reforged as one. It will see you safely through the Betrayer's Gate, to the realm of the dead. I can do nothing more for you, for him. If I've earned your vengeance, then take it.
Are there more questions to ask?
Yes, I'll answer what I can.
Okay, so we can actually ask more questions, okay. I've relived Akashi's memories in my dreams. I think Merkel lied, and perhaps he could be restored.
I wasted years believing that I could somehow restore what he was. Scattered fragments of memory do not make a whole. You might give him silence, peace. That is the most I can hope.
But look at these mask threads I found when I awoke. They were in my hand.
Even if a part of his essence exists in these fragments, you would have to face him somehow and join all his scattered pieces into one.
This is important
How
information.
does one face an empty thing, a hunger that lies within you? Until you reclaim your own soul, you will be too weak. And when your soul is returned to you, the hunger will be snuffed out, and my Akachi will be silenced at last.
Not if what
Yes,
Merkel
no,
said is true.
I dared hope for more. Do not make me walk that road again, when it is always for naught.
The pain of hope, I guess. I met an ally of mine. He's actually standing right there, looking quite scowling angrily as he usually does. His soul's been ripped from his body. Was that your doing?
That one studied amongst my people years ago. He even came to this academy for a time, to follow the trail of the sword. Nephris knew him by sight, and she knew the threat he posed. When our couriers took you, he followed, and she acted swiftly against him. Oh, he fought her, but he was weak from your battle, and Neverus was always the strongest of my fragments.
He split his soul from his body. It's a cruel fate and undeserved.
Cruel? Compared to your fate? Of all my cruelties in love's name, I have far worse to answer for. And that
She is a hard woman to
was a
forgive.
mercy in truth. Nephris counseled me to slay him, but I stayed her hand. His body and soul would have been restored once you were joined to Akachi, but Ahriman acted first.
Your death, how did it happen?
My magic was always different, tearing at forbidden boundaries, changing the nature of things, even
Your
before
first
his
death, I
curse
guess.
gave it focus. A careless moment, concentration lost, a senseless mistake. That was all it took.
Ahriman called your death a test. Are you certain it was an accident?
I've never remembered it well, though I assumed the moment of my death would be difficult to precisely recall. A shadow passing across my eyes, a sudden confusion. They might have been real. Merkel's hand might have brushed my mind, cost me focus when I needed it most. Was it a test of faith? Did Akachi love me better? Or his god? Merkel got his answer, whether he forced the point or not.
We kind of know already. If I tear my soul from Ball, how will I defeat the curse?
My Akachi has become an emptiness that walks. Merkel would have you believe that nothing of him remains, but echoes of him still drift within. When he takes a mortal form, he casts out the soul, sends it to the wall, in the place where he once lay. If your soul could be returned to your mortal body, and his emptiness has no means of escape, I believe he could be filled up and snuffed out. And that part of him that remains would disperse, and know peace at last. The dead god said as much to me, and I gave him reason to speak the truth.
And what was Akashi? Let's just ask it for
My
completion's
beloved
sake.
wore many faces before he was bound to you. The last was a Rashemen, a wizard. The wizard never knew what he was, but he tried to control the hunger, and he learned how it passed from one face to the next. So he struck a deal with the bear spirit, and built wards in the lowest chamber of the barrow.
Yeah, we kind of already
He
knew
that
this.
the hunger would consume him, and when it did, the empty soul of my beloved would be trapped, unable to find a new mask. I helped him in this through Liena. She gave him knowledge of the proper wards.
Oh, okay, that's
My
new.
beloved was bound. I could keep a closer watch on him until I found a way to save him.
I have no other questions then.
Then only one thing remains.
So I'm tempted by answer number 2. Possibly answer number... But no, I think answer number 3 here is better. Mostly because of the whole love thing that works on Denzon's heart. I forgive you, Founder. Your motives were pure, even if your methods were not.
She manipulated you, used you, and yet you... I didn't think anyone could forgive such an act. The Founder was right to trust in you, as was I. I promise you will be freed of this curse. Even if the gods themselves try to stop us, I will be by your side. You have my word.
Go then, and carry my hopes with you. Love is stronger than any justice meted out by a mad god. Let that be Merkel's legacy to the plains, that in the end his cruelty broke before a mortal's resolve.
That's a good story. And another level up. Well, that was a long finale of this stuff. So I think we'll leave it here. Join me next time when we'll proceed back to Shadow Malzentir. Probably also do some enchanting and stuff and start preparing for the final journey, the final crusade, the final answers. To take back our soul! Goed aan rol, until the next one, bye bye.